Overseas now, a report from a UN watchdog says Iran enriched uranium to near weapons-grade levels. Ouch. It comes as Iran tries to get the economic sanctions over its nuke program lifted. Katie McFarland with me. Is that your worst fear, that Iran moves closer to a bomb?
No, Iran effectively has nuclear weapons now. I mean, if they're a week or two away or a couple of days away, they've got them. And what's happened is that the Iranian government has played rope-a-dope with the Obama administration and now the Biden administration, where they've said, you know, we want a little bit more, we want a little bit more, but no matter what the United States agrees to, Iran keeps building its nuclear weapons. In the Trump administration, at least Trump pulled out of that flawed Iran nuclear deal and bankrupted Iran, so Iran was not able to make progress. But now, you know, they've let him get there, which is the tragedy.
But is Biden still negotiating with Iran over its nuke program? I mean, are they trying to do a deal, lift sanctions, and will not produce so much enriched uranium? Are they negotiating this?
They might be. You know, what's happened in the last sort of 24 hours is several European countries, the Europeans, you know, they want us to get tough on Iran. The European countries have come back and said, look, we should impose sanctions on Iran. And the Biden administration has said, no, don't want to be too tough on Iran. So maybe they are trying to negotiate. But if they are, what are they negotiating for? You know, Iran is effectively going to be a nuclear power. And the worry then is not just Iran has nuclear weapons and that Iran can threaten the entire region, but other countries in the region have already declared. You know, the Saudis have declared if Iran gets nuclear weapons, we're going to get nuclear weapons. And the difference in the Gulf countries and in that region is, in the good old days, you had to grow a nuclear weapon. You had to build it yourself, enrich your own uranium, make your own missiles. But now, there are a lot of countries that are rich enough to buy a nuclear weapon, whether they want to buy it from the Pakistanis or for the North Koreans. That's the worry, that we now are going to have, you know, a nuclear arms race in the Middle East.
Is there any chance that Israel would stop Iran's nuclear program with a bunker-busting bomb of some sort? Would they step in and fix this?
If they were going to do it, they should have done it a while ago. It's going to be very difficult now. And also, Israel's got a war on its hands. You know, it's got the Gaza war, which is not, they're getting Hamas and they're eliminating them, but they're doing it not as quickly as one would have hoped. So maybe Israel comes in and does it, but, you know, we're now at the 11th hour. What the UN watchdog agency has said is that Iran effectively, anytime it wants, can have potentially 3 nuclear weapons.
Okay. Change the subject for a second. Nikki Haley slammed Biden for slow-walking weapons to aid to Israel. Roll tape.
What America needs to understand is if Israel's fighting our enemies, how can we not help them? The sure way to not help Israel is to withhold weapons.
Now, Haley also signed an Israeli artillery shell with her name and wrote, "Finish them," on it. I mean, sounds like a play for her to be Trump's vice president. What do you say?
Oh, we're going to have so much fun leading up to the convention, because Donald Trump, who's a showman beyond belief, he'll understand that how do you keep interest in a campaign which is kind of frozen? It's Trump versus Biden again. Every week there'll be a vice presidential possibility. And so this week it's Nikki Haley. I think last week it was Tim Scott. Next week it'll be somebody else. But and Trump does this very deliberately, not only to keep people interested in the campaign, but he also does it to try out. You know, he'll float a name to see, well, what's the general reaction? People support it, people are not. And then the next week he'll have another name. So I think it's just Nikki Haley this week. And she understands if she wants a future in politics, and she's a very ambitious woman. I worked with her in the Trump administration. She knows it's Donald Trump's Republican Party. And if she wants a future in the Republican Party, she's got to figure out how to make up with Donald Trump. Now, the good news about Donald Trump is he may call people names and have enemies, but he can also, you know, forgive and move on.
Apparently. Back to the report this morning that tanks are in the middle of Rafah. So my question is Biden allowing Netanyahu to finish Hamas off?
Well, we'll see. You know, I mean, what has not happened is the full-scale invasion of Gaza and of Rafah. And can the Israelis do what they need to do? They still have the senior leadership of of Hamas is still on the loose somewhere, and presumably in Rafah. Now, if they can finish them off quickly, that'll be great. But the problem that they have is time's running out, not militarily, not economically, but time's running out politically. Because just a few days ago, you had 3 European countries which have now recognized the nation of Palestine. We're not even sure where that nation of Palestine is. Is it on the West Bank? Is it Gaza? Is it Palestinian Authority? Is it Hamas they're negotiating? But what will happen is other European countries will have domestic political pressure of their own, because they have very large Muslim populations who will want to recognize Palestine.
Katie McFarland, thanks for being with us today on a very important day. We appreciate it. Katie, we'll see you again soon.